I'd like to call this meeting of the Board of Penn Township Supervisors to order Wednesday, August 29th, 2012. We will stand for a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. I'd like to add that the minutes of the meeting are being recorded to aid in the preparation of those minutes. That being said, at this time we'll have the recognition of visitors. Wayne Loper. Yes.
I submitted a proposal about the recycling.
So everybody get a chance to take a look at that? I put before a very interesting article that you have here, you know, in regards to that, okay? I have to find out whether we got anything with our insurance people out here, anything if we were to take this on to store these, especially if they're broken.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We can't take TVs and stuff, but I would, this year we will be putting a notice out also that last year we had no place to take TVs and certain items, but Daimler's out here will take them, but they won't pay you nothing for them, but they will take TVs and stuff like that. I talked to them today in regards to this. They won't take the light bulbs up. So I guess these light bulbs, you know, the big thing of it is that I'd like to take a look at it, if the other two supervisors would agree, to see with our insurance company whether we have any liability upon our employees or whatnot with breakage of them. Exactly your concern also.
Yeah.
With the mercury vapors. So
Yeah.
I'm in favor of entertaining and taking a look at it if we can provide that service.
Okay.
And everything's there, it's not gonna be costly to the township. If we're gonna provide the containers, they'll take care of it.
Yeah, the only cost I can see to the township would be the transportation to Dolphin Electric.
To Dolphin Electric,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. And,
So I'm willing to take a look at that, and if they wanna, if it's a wish of the board that we further on with taking a look at it, well, I'll ask for that favor here at the present time.
I guess I don't want this to die, so would somebody contact me, or do I have further input, or where do I figure into this?
Well, I'll have Helen contact you, I guess we'll let you know and see what our insurance carrier says. That's the big thing that we have,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
That would be the question we have with the mercury vapors and whatnot, should they be broken and whatnot around our employees, okay?
And I, you know, if you've read that, I really, I really think the best way to handle that is to have a drop-off point here at one of the buildings that, like a business, so they have a quantity, they don't have to wait till the second Saturday to try to get some employee on a non-work day to come to the recycling center down here and to recycle. It'd be much easier for a business or even an individual homeowner if during the week they could stop by and just drop them off here. So there is a logistical issue, I think, that has to be thought about, because those containers have to be kept dry. So that sort of has a negative effect on the Boy Scouts recycling efforts. They don't really have I don't see them having an easy facility to keep those things dry, and, you know, you've gotta make this easy for it to work. Just to say we have recycling for fluorescent bulbs is not the solution. You've got to encourage people to do this with the least amount of trouble. And so, I mean, I think I've covered everything in the proposal, if you look at it and read it. So, I guess I kind of said my piece, but there are some logistical issues involved, more than just, are we insured? But can we make it feasible so that people will easily decide to participate in the program?
Okay. we can take a look at that, and I'll be willing to pursue that here during the daytime with the wish of the board if they choose to pursue it any further.
You want a motion out of it?
Yep.
I make that motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made with a second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. When we find out, we'll let you know where we're at.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay, invoices and expenditures.
No,
Oh, excuse me. Nah, like to get done quick tonight.
Jim?
I had some PR comments I can hold to then, Parks and Rec stuff.
Okay, Paul?
Yes, attended a training seminar in beginning of July up in Bloomfield that was offered by the National Weather Service. Just to get a little more in depth on what's going on with weather, how to spot different tornadoes and things like that. I thought it was very informative. Along that line, I want to remind everybody that, you know, we are going into the tornado or hurricane season. And I think it's time once you should, you know, check your home emergency supplies. You should have water, food, radio, cell phones, batteries, first aid kits, things that can keep you going in case the power's out for a day or so, or your water's out for a day or so. You know, things that you can personally be responsible for yourself. So it's a good time of the year to do that. Official hurricane season starts August and goes through October. So we're right approaching the middle of it when the storms come up the coast and handle us. So when you go home tonight, check your stuff, and if you see your neighbors, ask them to check theirs and make sure everybody's okay. That's all about.
Thanks, Paul.
Nancy?
Yes, a couple of questions did come in. The first one has to do with the professional auditors report that was back in April or May. Said that there had been no significant findings, but that there had been several minor findings. The question that is here is, what were the specific findings and what specific action was taken to correct them?
I don't know off the top of my head.
No,
I mean, I'll have to get back with you on that one.
Okay. You want the, I can give these in writing, it's fairly lengthy, I don't care
Yeah.
what is in there. Okay, I can give it to you in writing then at the end of the meeting. And the other question then is about the weeds not being mowed all spring or summer along Faculty Road west of 274. Can we expect to see the mowing done along the road before the snow starts? And the second part of it is what's going to be done about achieving clear sight distance when pulling from Faculty Road onto 274. They said it's especially treacherous because of the weeds growing in the guide rail and the tree limbs hanging down.
I'll answer that, Nancy. The one where Faculty Road comes to 274 is a state problem, not ours. Okay? And as far as the rest of the roads not being mowed, the other end of Faculty Road was, I did get out there with the mower and get that mowed down to Gamber's Corner down there. And in the process, we used the same tractor out here still for loading aggregate and room on it for the road out here that we have for a mower. Unfortunately, we don't have two of them sitting around to do that. At the present time, the mower is back on the tractor since the road's paved, and we will be continuing on getting the rest of these roads mowed just ASAP here next week. So that, a lot of these places where you have those accesses, it's PennDOT's problem. We've experienced this elsewhere, and it is tough to get them to come out to do it. And we've notified them. I've had these guys notify them at some other ones. And they eventually get around to it, but they're a little bit slow, and we don't have the authority to go in and do it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You might want to add Huffman to that also. It's in bad shape for weeds right on the road. Huffman Road.
Yeah, we haven't got out there. I'm not making no excuses. You can blame that on me. I'm the one that hasn't got there with the mower.
But you're saying that the township did contact PennDOT?
On some other instance, Nancy, not on this particular one. Where we had down along 11 and 15 down here, where we had brush and trees that people couldn't see to get in and out. It was.
The 274 in Faculty, was that one that you contacted them, or?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay. Okay,
But you brought it up, we'll go out there and take a look at it, and we can contact them on
okay,
that.
thank you.
Bob Gauss? Linda? Bob Johnson?
Just to add your menagerie on your mowing, on Schoolhouse Road and Sawmill Road, I have a problem with the school running them kids up and down the road with the track training and all. And the road is pretty narrow there to have the kids running along there. The mowing could get out on those two roads.
Well, my opinion, the school has been doing that, you know, for I don't know how long,
Right.
up and down, whatever, whether the roads are mowed or not mowed. And I would think that our school system down here would not be running these kids with their space of what they have to do their exercise on the township traffic road. I don't understand it. Someday, someone's gonna get hit.
That's what scares me.
They come up Sawmill, they come clear on out, they go clear down to Cove Road, and in the evenings, they're just, there's kids everywhere that make no move to
Oh, no,
move
the
when
kids don't
there's,
get
when
down
there's
the
a
road,
car
no.
comes by, yes. But they've got the roads marked off and put mileage numbers on them themselves and run them.
Yeah, that's their system. Yeah.
I questioned Mr. Sheets about that before and got nowhere with that. Thanks, Bob, I got the same, I echo your sentiment.
You know, at one time I even hollered when they put the schools in, they should have had sidewalks put along Schoolhouse Road.
I'm not making excuses for the weeds, but when the kids run 4 and 5 abreast on the road,
Yeah,
weeds or no weeds, they're out in the middle of the road.
yeah, because one of these times somebody's gonna come down through there impaired and the kids are gonna get it.
Next.
Mr. Bertheimer, you have anything other than what's on the agenda for you?
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Roman?
No.
Craig?
Nothing official, just thank you for your ongoing support. And if there's anything you need from us, please let us know. Thank you.
Lee?
Stone Mill Estates, dead horse, I know. But had several questions, several people talked about the road not being taken over, and you had made the offer to take us up and show us what they were going to do. Could you do that for us?
You'd have to come in and look at the plans. There's nothing up there to
There's
look at.
nothing there.
You have to look at the actual online development plans to see what he means.
You have to look at the plan, that Lee, and be able to decipher what it's gonna be by look. Piece of paper looks flat with a bunch of lines on it.
Yeah.
But if you take a look at it, look in the details, and at the details of what they're gonna provide with that road is where these gutters stuff come up, and they were reviewed with Max, and they're there. So that's how you ascertain by taking a look at those plans ahead of time is what you're going to get. If you don't take a look at them, you have no idea what you approved. And this was one that we spoke out against because of what it was going to be according to the plans.
Understood, and we talked about that at the group meeting, and there were several people in the group that didn't understand, you know, what was so bad about it, and we were hoping we'll come look at the plans.
Sure, you come and look at the plan. You let me know. I'll put it on a grease board for you on larger to show you what you would have.
Okay. When's a good time?
Well, I'm always busy, but give Helen a call and she'll give me a call and I'll quit what I'm doing to come in.
At least next week on for him.
Okay.
Mr. Peters?
First time, just to observe.
Okay. You got anything to say?
No, I do not.
That's it, Henry.
Okay. Invoice and expenditures before you. Approval.
Anything unusual, Christine?
The only thing of note is with CapTax's new computer system, we're going to switch paying our EIT from monthly to quarterly, the same that we do the LST. It's just easier with their system.
I'll make a motion the orders be drawn and the bills be paid.
Okay. Right here a second.
I second the
Okay,
motion.
motion made with a second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. Treasurer's report before you.
You have one CD for Parks and Rec coming due on September 12th. It's currently at Marysville. My recommendation is to stay there. moving into Landisburg wouldn't gain us any advantage, and Marysville at the moment is showing 0.2 instead of 0.15.
Okay, thanks for that info. And do I hear a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make a motion, we accept the treasurer's report subject to audit.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made with second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Do you need a
Well,
motion?
also-
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I'll also make a motion, we take the treasurer's recommendation to keep the Park and Rec CD at Marysville at a current rate of 0.2%.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made with second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye. Ayes have it. So ordered. Minutes, July 25th and July 30th before you for approval or rejection. What is your board on approval of the minutes?
I had given them some corrections this evening on the 25th, just minor, nothing major. So I will make a motion that the July 25th and July 30th minutes be accepted as corrected.
Okay. Motion been made, I'll second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Minutes are approved. Highway report. We've been busy the last month, and continue to be very busy, and hope we get a late winter, if we get any at all, sure would help. We got up to Princeton Street up there. We had some trees that had grown out over the right of way, and the landowner was good enough to let us cut them back, and I guess he wants the whole trees taken down now. Very cooperative. We had another side there where there's an extreme amount of brush growing off the bank. We cleaned those off from Princeton Street, and it looks a lot better out there. Had a lot of comments about it. We got up there to do that. But that was on one of our odd days, out of a busy schedule, and we filled in again. Faculty Road's been paved. We got a little work to do out there yet on it, on the edges and et cetera. We have a major repair that we've been putting off out of Butcher Shop at the bottom of Fouts' there, a huge washout there from last year. We've had cones out there, but haven't been able to get it. Today, we started out there taking that whole thing out. We will be filling that in with modified, getting that bend paved there, and getting the water swale there fixed up again so that that doesn't wash out there anymore. So we're presently out there trying to wrap that up this week to get out there. Once again, the mowing, my responsibility, haven't got there, but I will. So I assume full responsibility for those areas of the road that hasn't been mowed. Some of it's been done, but not all of it. We recently, one more time up around King Cora for about 3 times a year, we have to get down there with 3 guys, and we have to weed whip that up around here on the guardrails. Although we did with the big mower, reach down over the bank and take care of a lot of that, which has been a big help. So we got that finished up here on some odd days and some dreary days where we couldn't do patching. We have ongoing repairs going to take place on Sawmill out here coming out of the Beers Farm, where there's extreme washout coming out of the lane there. I talked to Skip Rohr down here that owns the place and said that I could do whatever was necessary there on his ground to correct that drainage out there that's breaking up the road. So we will be working on that. Culvert drain in the cove, been saw cut, still sitting there waiting, all the materials here. Going to try to schedule that for a Saturday in September. Depending on the weather, stream's quite low there right now, and so we need to get that in because that culvert is really in bad shape, collapsing. I would like to offer for the purpose of the public knowing what the road crew experiences out here. We put our road signs up. You have flaggers there. You keep one lane open. Today, we got license numbers for the first. Run over the flaggers, threaten to run over them, drive around them, and fly around the bend, and there's a backhoe crossways in the road. We do the best we can to do that. Tomorrow, they're going to be out there. I'm going to ask the officers if they'll spend some time out there in Butcher Shop. You have people come up, just laugh at you and drive right around you, or drive over you. It's hard to believe. I was out there the day with them, And they go around the bend where we're directing traffic, and there's a backhoe crossways. And it's the same way with mowing. You'll be sitting with a tractor mowing, and you'll hear the wheels squeal, and there comes someone down the road. I don't know what they do. They don't see you till they're on top of you. So the guys are told out here they keep a truck in front of them, behind them for a buffer. And the flagmen have all been told out there to wear their vests or hard hats. And don't risk yourself by going to get the traffic stopped if they go around you. It's not worth it. But there is a problem out there coming down out there, and I wanted to bring that here tonight and ask these gentlemen if they'll put someone out there periodically tomorrow to slow that down out there. It was a mess today. The barriers are up, and it's just like they don't care. So the boys do stick their neck out there every day when they're out there, and it is a concern of mine that they don't get hurt. That it doesn't happen. That being said, we're going to continue on with our repairs coming into the winter. I don't know of anything that we need to be prepared. The bin's full of skid. We got salt out here, salt that we don't know where to put from our contract. And let's hope we have another mild winter like we had last year. It was very beneficial to the township, especially financially. That's all I have under the highway report. I'll move from there to the Penn Township Planning Commission.
There's nothing to report this
Pardon?
month? Nothing to report this month.
Okay, thank you, Helen. Zoning report?
Well, you have the zoning officer's report.
Okay,
And then the other item is, the Burke Company had submitted a conditional use application. 60 days out will be October 19th.
okay. That has to go before the planning commission.
Planning
yet,
Commission's
okay.
tabled it.
And that gives us time next month at a meeting to set a date for the conditional use.
Mhm.
So at the present time, there's no action to be taken until it gets before the planning commission.
You do have in your packet the application and the zoning officer's comments.
Sewage enforcement officer report?
Nothing on his, just a letter about a porta-john. And then you have the porta-john contract for the Eagle's Nest.
Okay. And that's all taken care of. We got the contract.
Oh, yeah, we got the contract, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. That's what,
Helen, it says there about the letter in regards to meeting that. Where is that at?
For, oh, well, I got a copy over in the office I can get you. That is, the Rogue
That's
Hog.
Road Hog.
He sent a letter stating that he needs to come in the township and get the application to have a porta-john. Certified.
Okay, that sort of mixed two things there together.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right.
But then it's just accepting the, or not accepting the, porta-john contract for the Eagle's Nest.
okay. The contract's back. What is the wish of the board as for approval of porta-john, for the John contract to accept?
I don't mean to jump ahead on reports, but this is something that you'll find in my report that was discussed at Municipal Authority more than once. But there was a lot of discussion last month on this, and would be item 3.
Rich see this information that comes with that?
I saw it just for a couple of minutes.
I guess the discussion is as it was on the original agreement we saw down there, eventually they were supposed to hook into the system.
Eventually, yeah.
My suggestion would be, does the municipal authority have a recommendation for the board to consider, number one? Number two, does the SEO have a recommendation to the board to consider? And I would suggest we get those two recommendations and input from our engineer, if necessary.
Okay,
I mean, it's the wish of the municipal authority to get them to connect. They're within
I mean, that's
the distance.
and that's why I'm saying, you guys, in my judgment, ought to get some input from the authority, your sewage enforcement officer, and maybe from the engineer, if he has any thoughts
Okay.
about this.
At the solicitor's advice, in regards to it, I'll ask the point of contact to the municipal authority, take that back to the municipal authority, to get that information back in the hands of the township in written form. Contact Lenny Sizer, SEO, in regards to it, and involve Mr. Schrader here when we get all that information in there, Mr. Wagner, for a decision to be made.
DEP may have some thoughts
Yeah,
at some point,
okay?
which will be the first if DEP has any thoughts.
I've got to take that.
And
So
we'll-
therefore, we're tabling this?
I will table that, offer that to be tabled until that information, so we can take action on it next month.
Will do.
Okay?
Quick question, Henry.
Pardon?
Quick question.
Yes.
Those permits are every 2 years, correct?
Yes,
I'm good for another year yet.
yes.
Okay.
That's holding tank lid.
Yeah.
And then
I
likewise.
know what you're talking about?
No, we're
No.
talking about porta potties.
Oh, I'm
with fire
sorry.
department permit, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yours is good for every 2 years.
Okay.
Okay?
You need a motion to table?
Yeah, calling for a motion to table.
Make that motion.
I'll
Okay,
second.
Motion been made, second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, so ordered.
Park and Rec.
Oh. Laid that on top of it, buried my agenda, shame on me. Never mind. Okay, Park and Rec Board report.
We have 2 items from our last meeting that I want to bring up. Our meeting in September is to move to the 4th because of a problem with one of our presidents will not be there. And after that, October, we'll be back to the second Tuesday of the month as it has been. For your history buffs, on September 19th, Harriet McGee will be talking on local history here, giving a lecture. She gives it like in a manner that you think you were there. So if you want history of the area, it should be here on the 19th.
What time?
7 o'clock.
What's the topic?
We are looking at the,
What's the topic?
forget, it's not there.
Local
Local
history.
Just says local
Local
history?
history, yeah.
Is it September 19th?
Yes.
September 19th, Wednesday, September 19th.
Here?
Here. We are looking at the
Plate counts,
possibility of
every
either having you or us draft an ordinance for restricting use of tobacco products on the campus. Either they can smoke in certain areas, or they, not at all. I mean, that'd be your decision to make, but we feel time has come. These kids don't need to be around cigarettes being smoked out in the ball fields and stuff like that. So, you want us to draft an ordinance and give it to you, or you want to draft it yourselves? Or you think it's worth doing?
That's one of them touchy issues, Jim.
Yeah.
I guess if you're going to do something like that, you want to make a proposal for no smoking out here on it.
Okay.
I don't have any problem with that, but if you're talking about leaving designated areas out here for it, are you not? Did I not hear
Yeah,
that?
I mean, that's one possibility, yeah.
Okay, if you're going to do that, then you're gonna have to draft something up. We need to know what you got in mind, in regards to
Okay.
that.
I will draft.
Nothing inside here, or in this building permitted, no.
No, nothing inside, but you figure like the
Okay.
corridor down there.
I would offer to you for you guys to go ahead and prepare what you got in mind, get it for us to take a look at.
Okay.
Yes.
What grounds do we need a smoking policy? Is there problems, is there complaints, is there concerns?
Well, it's,
I'm not a smoker, so I don't care,
Yeah.
but people still do have rights, they still do have privileges, and rights do have privileges. And I just want to make sure that we're not going overboard and restricting people's privileges.
well, most education facilities and playgrounds restrict smoking on the campus right now, and have no smoking period. And we were just looking at the playground areas right here, and the litter that it causes, because we don't have places to put the butts. At the front and back door, we have a sandbox to put their butts in, but, you know, it's,
I'm okay with having designated smoking areas, but restricting the whole campus, I don't think that's fair.
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, we'll probably go with that approach. Another item that has come up is the bus stop out here in the front of the building. We thought it might be more safer for the kids use our new pavilion back here as a bus stop, and the bus would pull and go around that and go back out like they do, instead of going down over the bank here and coming around up through, go to a blind corner there. And someone going around too fast, they could do some damage.
That's not our call.
Well, should we approach the school and ask them about it, or?
Yeah, it's totally the school.
That's the school,
Okay.
Jim.
After school. We set the date for the Halloween party of the October 27th, that's Friday night, from 6 to 8. And we need some members, we're down to 3. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Penn Township Municipal Authority, you have your report before you. Any comments by any other members of the board in regards to the report, or do you have anything to offer?
No.
Okay.
I
Okay,
did have one question, and I noticed that on something on Lenny's report. Is that third from the bottom, perhaps? Does that coincide with item number 5? Are we looking at the same place?
Yes.
It is, okay, all right, thank you. There, at the time that the report was done, we didn't have a name there.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
okay, secretary's report.
Okay, well, you got this, Mr. Smart's resignation from the authority too.
Yes. Okay,
Okay. Fall cleanup. We received one bid packet from Sylvester Services with the same base numbers as last year.
I don't have that on that request that went out for them to bid. I mean, do we have the limit on the tires again this year?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we have 4 tires per house out.
Okay.
No computers, TVs, those items.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to accept the bid proposal for fall cleanup from Sylvester Services for that amount of $4,607?
Well, that's what it
I
was
mean,
last year.
That's what it was last year.
Yeah.
We have budgeted $6,000. They have their rates there per a cubic yard box and ton for the tires, metal, white goods box for tires, bulk waste and the waste. Okay, we only, once again, one proposal.
Mhm.
I make a motion that we accept Sylvester's bid for 2012 cleanup.
Okay.
Second motion.
Okay, motion made with the second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered.
Pardon? October, what's the third weekend in October? October.
18, 19, 20.
Yes.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday? 18, 19, 20.
Yeah.
It's 3 days?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The next thing I have is an exemption from Mr. Decker. He's asking for exemption to the per capita tax. Our ordinance, our current ordinance does not have a provision to allow this. I did check with county, they only exempt for real estate on permanent disabled veterans. I did check the poverty level, for the federal poverty level. I don't have the authorization to give it, so I have to bring it to you.
Okay, there's a submission there, I think, for two of them. One in the family meets that requirement, the other doesn't.
That's correct. Mrs. Decker's annual is under the poverty level, Mr. Decker's annual's above it.
Okay, what is the wish of the board in regards to making the exemption for the one that's eligible?
I would make a motion that we exempt Mrs. Decker, who is eligible.
Motion's been made, I'll second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Motion approved for the one that is eligible for any poverty. What is the wish of the board as to whether they wish to change it or grant that motion here? I would caution that if there's others out there in the same situation, you're gonna be faced with that unless you change or make your policy different.
That's coming up.
Huh?
That's coming up
The
ordinance.
It's by ordinance.
by ordinance.
It's by
Yeah,
ordinance.
you have to change the ordinance.
Do we need a vote for no for Mr. Decker?
I can qualify by virtue of the
Okay.
ordinance. I mean, you can do that to let him know that it was considered by the board, but
Okay. So he's not eligible, but we granted the one that we could. Okay, and you will notify Mr. Decker.
I'll notify him. Okay, the next portion is the per capita ordinance. I gave you a draft, two different drafts. Our original ordinance is very short and sweet. And I gave you two drafts of that and then of adding in for the federal poverty level guidelines. And then I gave another one that's more in line with the occupational ordinance.
Okay?
I'm asking you guys to look at them. Comments, changes, whatever.
Okay, thank you.
Same with the occupational ordinance. Just look at them, let me know. Okay. Then the next thing on mine is the dental vision medical comparisons. When our dental and vision stayed the same price this year. Our medical, if we would have gone just a current renewal, would have been an increase of 36.2%, bringing it up from $30,000 to $41,000. So we went out and shopped. And Capital Blue came in with a 21.96% decrease for the same policy, better prescription plan, and it came in at $23,000. So it saves us over $17,000 to the township.
Thanks for that report, Helen. I'd like to add for the public's input on that. We brought our employees in, they filled out forms, they filled out questionnaires. They sent it back in, they came in and they sat with the provider of the insurance. They were more than satisfied. Some of it's better than what we had before.
Yes.
Very, very little of it slipped on their coverage. The employees that are covered for it were more than happy. Never did I think that we were going to get a reduction in it instead of an increase.
Yeah.
But we went the extra mile out here and found out what was out there, and everybody seems to be happy with what they now have.
Yep.
And I'm glad to say I'm happy with the lesser amount that we have to pay out for our medical costs.
is that a $7,000 less per year than what we were paying before?
Less than last year is $6,655
So it
over,
actually went down over last year?
Yeah,
yes,
down
once we
there.
shopped.
Good.
It's hard to believe, but at a shop, I don't know how many different places. I couldn't believe it, but we got it.
Good.
Okay, the next thing is PSAT's enclosed a sample resolution to establish procedures for the procurement of professional services as defined in Act 44. They're recommending that we adopt this resolution in the event that we ever not use PSATs. Then we have the procedures in place and can go on. I did send it to Rich, I don't know if you looked at it.
Yeah, I did. It's in keeping with Act 44, and it's something that you can approve, in my judgment.
Okay? Do I hear a motion to adopt the resolution?
I will make that motion.
Okay, motion, I'll second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered.
Okay, the last thing I have is the recycling center contract came up for renewal again. Tanya called me and informed me that Sylvester Services agreed to continue recycling at the same price as last year, which would be $200 per month for us, $2,400 for the year.
Okay.
They just need a letter from us saying we're happy with that.
Okay. I make a motion that we forward that letter to say that we're in agreement with that amount of $2,400 for continuing the recycling.
I'll second that.
Yeah, motion made and second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay. Secretary's report being completed. Engineers report. Max?
You should have a copy of my report. Probably the one item in particular on there is the MS4 application. Been working with the township staff for completing that application, providing them with assistance. We will be preparing the required map of outfalls, and as requested, we'll be reviewing the notice of intent or the application to be submitted and get that back to you next week so that you
Yeah.
have time to get it done. There is a fee that goes with this.
It's within the bills.
Okay, the date of that check cannot be more than 10 days
Prior.
to the date of submission of the application.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So we get back the 5th. Are we going to approve with his recommendations, or are we going to have to come back for another meeting to approve the application?
The application's gonna be the application, Helen.
I know.
We done our portion of it up here, and we agreed earlier to put this in the hands of Max to complete this application so that we can meet the deadline and get the filing fee in. And it goes into what, final effect, what, next March or something like that?
yeah, the permit should be issued
Okay.
March 9th,
Okay.
something to that effect.
And we went over what we done yesterday, and you're satisfied with what we
Yes.
provided for you to complete the application?
Yes, we will have to do that now.
Okay. For those that may have seen the township truck out along the state, and Township Road and Firehouse and the area that afforded, we had a measure between each and every culvert, the distance, and give them a number. And down Schoolhouse, I think there was what, 36, 38, on the state road, what,
Yeah.
40, 50 some, and the Firehouse. And the distances between them. So all that information, it took two of us yesterday, the better part of the day, just to collect the information to meet the requirements of this state. And that's only the tip of the iceberg, what we have to do after we get involved with it to keep the daily records, or to keep the records.
Right.
And we have no choice, it's here. What about the request for a waiver? Worth it?
Yeah, I think it would be appropriate to prepare that.
Okay, although we understand it's probably not gonna be granted this time.
Yeah.
Okay. I would make a motion, that we also have Max prepare that request for a waiver from having to comply with this MS4 program at the present time.
I'll second that.
Motion made with a second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay.
Need someone authorized to sign it.
Pardon?
you're gonna need someone authorized to sign it, or is that already been done?
No, they haven't made the motion.
All right.
But you know how it rolls downhill.
Okay. The motion for the MS4, I'd like to put it before the board, ask for approval to give Max Strady the opportunity to prepare the MS4 so that the application can be submitted on time here by what, middle of September?
Yeah, actually, it needs to be in by the 14th.
Okay?
Yeah.
And an authorized signature here by the township when it's completed.
Okay.
Okay, what is the wish of the board?
Was that your motion?
That's a motion,
All right,
yes.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion made with a second. I'll second.
No, you need.
Well, I made the motion.
She
excuse me.
second.
Motion made with a second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. I would like to also ask the board for approval to, when the plan is completed, come forward with board a review that Helen can be the signatory on.
Is that a motion?
Yes, I
Second
second the motion. Okay. Motion made with a second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye. Ayes have it. Thank you. Max, proceed so we don't get in trouble. Okay. Police report.
The July report was submitted, a little over 3,100 in fines and costs for the month of July, brings a total of about a little over 16,000 so far for the year, plus our accident reports and clerk reports fines, which totals about 18,900 for the year. Everything's going as planned. We're doing well. We have 8 total officers on the force. I'd like to request permission from the board to sell our Expedition. It's costly to run. It's about 8 miles to a gallon. And while it still has a value, I'd like to put that up, see what we can get for sale, and put that into a vehicle fund. Also, the Argo, our all-terrain vehicle. It's costly to run and costly to repair, and it's not quite what we need for this area. It'd be nice to look into a different type of vehicle, somehow even to be able to get a stretcher attached to it, like maybe a John Deere or something like that, to be able to get people out of the mountains if we ever need to go up in that area. We've taken the Argo out on 2 separate weekends just to check it out. It doesn't perform like we need for this area. And like I said, they don't make parts for it anymore either, so it's a pretty much, I'd like to, while it still has a value also, is to be able to put that up for sale and also put that into a fund, a vehicle fund for the police department.
Okay, you've heard the request for the board, from the police department, before the board. Being appointed in contact with the police department, I know that the SUV out here, there is a need for a 4-wheel drive vehicle out here. They agree to that, I agree to that. Although the one that was spec'd out we have at the present time is costly to operate. So at the present time, if I'm correct, our other cars are the ones that fill in the gaps and are on the move all the time by the officers as much as possible because they're much more fuel efficient.
That's correct.
And so the SUV out there, I think your intention to, your intention for the board's sake to advertise it, lights, radios, etc., and seek out all new, or the removal of that, or offer it as is, or just as a plain car?
I think everything would go.
Offer it as a police vehicle.
And then outfit a new vehicle with more updated equipment too. The lights, the more LED lights now are a lot more efficient and everything, and a lot brighter, and those are pretty old.
Okay.
That's on it, the lights.
No, offhand, how many miles is on it?
31,000.
31,000. Okay, 2 years old, right?
Yes.
2010, yes.
2010. What is the wish of the board? Does the board wish to act upon their request, or would you like some time to think about it?
I'll make a motion that we give them authorization to advertise them for sale, both pieces.
Okay?
Second motion.
Motion made with a second. All those in favor give their consent to saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so. In regards to the Argo, I think the consensus is that it may be beneficial if they wish to sell that or take it at the present time, if they'd advertise that, I believe, before hunting season. Okay? May be the way to go. I will say that I was with these gentlemen a couple of times and took them over some of the areas where that type of vehicle is needed in the township. It is nothing that really suits the need. I'll take my four-wheeler, my personal one, with my wife, want to go place up across the mountain. You can't even think of that. We do have some really inaccessible areas that where we've had snake bite, people hurt, trucks rolled over, and we do not have the equipment or the emergency stuff to get back in there. And so that is part of Penn Township, and I would put it before the board that we allow them to advertise the Argo also.
I included that with my.
Oh, you did, okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
For both vehicles.
Both of them, okay. So that's the reason being, yes.
Craig has some.
That's great.
I don't know if the department's aware that Newport Ambulance owns, they call it a UTV, it's a town and country, it's whoever makes that. It's got the box on the back, it's got the EMS box, was at the fair last week. They have it available for, any needs that you guys may have, equipped for EMS, and it's basically a four-wheeler, with the extended box in the back. I'm trying to think who makes it, it's cut together. They have it, it would be dispatched through the county and they can bring it down, pretty short order. They put about $20,000 into that. They had 8 or 10, I think, that was grant money a couple years ago. So it's new, it's in good shape, it's, probably something more like you're looking for. And they would love it down. We can make those arrangements if you have something pre-planned. Thanks.
Okay.
The reserves,
Pardon?
are there reserves on these?
I don't know whether you have reserves, you have the right to accept or reject any or all bids.
I understand, I'm
Okay.
just asking for those.
If you're not satisfied with it, I mean, that's the consensus, you can get a value on the Argo, by other, there's nothing in this area, nothing around here, it's a Canadian made, everything, tires, everything, you gotta purchase out of Canada. Can't get any of the parts or anything around here at all. We've tried. Yes, Lee?
Two questions. First off, the $18,000 worth of fines or whatever that came in, is that just for Penn Township or is that Penn Township, Duncannon?
That's just Penn Township.
Okay. What would the combination total be?
I don't have this stuff that came back for Duncannon.
When is the last time the Argo was run?
Last week.
Last weekend.
So it does run.
Yes, oh, yeah.
Has been running late.
Do you want it late?
You want it?
We'll give you a good price.
Oh, good. Does it float?
It floats.
Maybe.
Floats in cold water, yeah.
Don't get anything with any swiftness in the stream, you end up in the Chesapeake.
I just went for the pond.
Yeah, well, it's good for that.
May I ask, are the auctions for police vehicles involved with like the yearly Hampton Township auction, which is open to the public, where many of the local government vehicles and assets are sold? Once a year, it's awful.
Do you know when that is?
It was just about a month ago. So it's a yearly auction for government and municipal vehicles where it attracts people from all over the country. It's a very, very good venue for buyers. This is an avenue to purge municipal property.
Okay. I have one other thing on
So
August.
you are or not?
Pardon?
You are or not involved, that was the question.
No.
No.
Thank you.
Okay. August the 13th, on a Thursday, is the next meeting,
September.
joint meeting. Pardon?
September.
September, excuse me. September is the next meeting with the borough, 7 p.m. in regard to the police department, meeting with their police committee. And Mr. Carlson and Mr. Pickles and myself will be there. see if the borough wishes to continue on or whether there's any problems with the present contract. So far, everything seems to be fine, budget money's holding out, et cetera. Coming close to the year to see whether we're going to be renewal of a contract. This will be taking us into our last quarter. The other thing that I want to know, the township is taking a hard look at. I found a fuel tank that is of the size and design that we'd like to have out here, and would like to be purchasing our fuel through CoStars at a 70 cents a gallon reduction at the present time. So the fuel would be on 1,000 gallon of fuel, $700 savings, not bad. So we're taking a look at everything that we got out here to keep our fuel costs down and to keep this thing running lean as we can possibly keep it. So we're moving towards that direction, and maybe by next month we'll be set to go with that. That's all I have on the police report. You have anything else? Yes, Nancy.
Where is that meeting in September? Is that here or
Borough?
down there?
Borough,
Down
7, Nancy.
Thank you.
That's all I have. That's all they have on the police report. Next item on business will be the solicitor's report.
First item is the state road property. This is the property that the municipal authority wants to give to the township. It was discussed, I believe, at the last meeting. My only comment was to ensure that if we're going to accept the property, we're accepting it free and clear of any judgments, liens, or encumbrances of record. Otherwise, they become our responsibility. I'm under the impression a report has been received from the solicitor of the authority, Mr. Chateau, indicating that that piece of property is free and clear of any liens, encumbrances, and judgments or mortgages, and as such, the township can, if they feel appropriate, make a motion and second to accept that piece of property, which if we do, will have to be signed by the appropriate municipal authorities. That's item number one.
Pardon?
Do you want to do that, or do you want to wait till the end, or?
No? Let's deal with that. Brian, your recommendation?
I move we accept the property.
Okay.
So it's $1?
$1. Okay, it's been moved. I'll second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered.
Item number two, which we haven't really tracked, I don't think, no pun intended, that closely, but you know we were part of a lawsuit, including Conrail, and as a result, a resolution was reached where the claimant was paid a settlement by the railroad, and we made no contribution whatsoever, and the case is fully settled. So we're out, done, and we haven't paid anything for that. Our insurance company would have paid for our legal counsel, so there's no money out of our coffers as a result of that.
Thank you, Rick.
You bet. Lastly, the Stone Mills estate issue has arisen, again, where there's been a request from the Planning Commission to get a response from me to the one landowner's attorney. I discussed this with the engineer ahead of time, not specifically, but generally, that it's up to you folks to direct what I do. In this instance, the 4 questions that were asked, three of them are comments, and one of them is now irrelevant. And the question arises when issues come up where someone seeks a legal interpretation. Do you want to wait till the plan is in the position of making that, or do you want to do it potentially prematurely and run into lots of opinions over and over and over that may not be relevant to the ultimate plan? In other words, there were 4 questions asked. One question, what's the legal effect of the township's approval of the Harry Beers Lot Addition 2A preliminary and final plan? Well, there's been plans approved after that. So that is really an irrelevant question. Let me give you another example. The proposed development results in the continuation of 2 landlocked parcels previously caused by the construction of routes 11 and 15, and no access is provided. That's not a legal opinion. So I concerned that the Planning Commission, in due respect to them looking for guidance, really is in a position where they want me to give legal opinions for somebody else, not the township. So my recommendation is that you indicate that at this juncture it's premature.
Okay. Anything else, Rick?
That's all I have.
Thanks for your report.
Thank you. Pretty good. Good to see the Dodgers lose again. Have a nice evening. Have a safe Labor Day.
You too. See ya.
Max, take care, and I'll be back with you. All right. Okay, don't have that tomorrow morning on that, I'll send that down first thing, okay?
Thanks.
Thanks, Max.
Permit report
Nothing out of the ordinary.
and correspondence from Barbara Hamilton.
Yes. Barbara is she has to run again next year, and she's requesting an increase from 4% to 5% for her commission. I gave you a spreadsheet that I normally keep that shows where she's at so far this year, on what she's earned gross, and what the 5% would have been. So you have an idea of how much more she's talking about.
I guess for the people who are sitting out here, Helen, I'd like to read this letter. I don't think it's out of place. It says, in 2013, I will again need to run for the office of tax collector for another 4-year term, in which time you will need to set my rate of pay. I'm requesting you consider changing the 4% pay rate to 5% allowed by your rules and regulations. I have never asked for a raise in all the 24 years I worked for you. I know personally that quite a few Perry County tax collectors already received the 5%, therefore I'm requesting the change. You've been wonderful to work for and been very good to me all these years, and I want to thank you for considering this request no matter which way you make your determination. Thanks again. Sincerely, Barbara Hamilton, Penn Township Tax Collector.
Yes.
And you have a list there in regards to that, be 1% from 4 to 5. And I think for the small amount of money that she receives out in the year,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do it with all the phone calls and all the headaches of the people at my door. So
Now, you don't have to make a decision until the reorganizational
that's
meeting.
correct. So we face for that. That request is in here and will be dealt with at a later time.
Yeah.
But it's for information only at the present time. She did make a request, and I don't really think that it's an unreasonable request, but that remains to be seen by what the rest of the board wants. Old business newsletter, Helen? Pardon me?
What would 1% amount to?
Right now,
$1,183.16 so far this year.
So far this year. And you're about out of that. I mean,
yeah, you're talking maybe $300-400 more, if that.
if that, Lee.
But that would be for next year then also.
That would be for next year, yes.
That would take it to 5% for next year.
Yes, this
And-
year would be still 4%.
Yeah.
Okay, and then for a full year, that would run,
About 1,500.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, newsletter?
you have the draft. I'm requesting comments back by the 6th.
Okay.
Because I have a dentist appointment on the 7th. I was going to drop it off on the way. We're at the printing.
Okay. And the only bad boy you got out there is me yet.
Yeah, you haven't given me anything.
Okay. You'll get it, Helen. Everybody keeps asking whether taxes are going up this year. I need to offer the comment, put it in the newsletter, tell them how I feel about it. Okay?
Okay.
New business?
I don't have any.
Okay. Hearing no further old business or new business, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that.
All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered.